national voice across the country. This is Right Line with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Let's face it, retirement has gotten more complicated, taxes go up, markets swing, and most people are just guessing their way through it. But you don't have to. Certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend has been helping families right here in Southwest Florida for over 40 years retire with confidence, not guesswork. He even wrote a book called Making Waves in Retirement, and he wants to send you a copy absolutely free. So look, it's about retiring with confidence and peace of mind. All you need to do right now is pick up your phone and text the word book to 239-579-9992. That's book to 239-579-9992. Look, don't wait. Text the word book to 239-579-9992 right now.
What does life after service look like? Kicking back? Taking it easy? We believe it looks a little different. Fighting for all veterans. Making sure they get the benefits and care they've earned. Rebuilding communities after disaster strikes. And adapting to support today's veterans. Meeting them where they are. The VFW. Still leading. Still advancing. Still serving. Get involved at stillserving.org.
I can trace family members who served from World War I to today, each one helping shape who I am. My family chose to share their stories with the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Voices, letters, and memories that bring their service to life. Searching for their stories was easy. You can discover powerful stories too, told through the voices of America's veterans. Explore, remember, and share at loc.gov/vets.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours and to get our eyes checked regularly. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. So do poor diet choices and poor life choices. But why are we so reckless with our hearing? We take hearing for granted. Hearing damage from loud sounds is permanent, but preventable. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Wear earplugs. Turn it down. Give your ears a rest. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
The other day, a man called saying my electric was way past due. He threatened to turn off my power if I didn't buy a gift card to pay the bill. I said, look, fella, I wasn't born yesterday. Gift cards are for gifts, not for paying bills, and I'm sure as heck not buying you a gift. So I hung up on the crook, and my lights never went out. Know the signs of scams and leave scammers in the dust. If someone asks for a gift card as payment, it's likely a scam. A public service message from the Better Business Bureau.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
This is Right Line with Drew Steele.
Hey, look at us. It's the weekend. How's it going? My name is Drew Steele. Big D on the other side of the glass with the rest of the newsroom, and Nina's in the breaking newsroom over there. Anytime you want to watch, at Right Line News on YouTube and X. And if you want to check out the show after the show, Right Line with Drew Steele, it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Hey, coming up, boy, a busy weekend already. A lot of things to talk about, including how the Democrats are already starting to kind of pivot, kind of shift, kind of show you that in some ways they're trying to moderate their positions. It's like there's any moderating Democrats. And some of the people that we're starting to see on different media outlets, and even on like Bill Maher's program. Like, why are we still talking about the Bidens? Like, why do we care necessarily about what Jill Biden has to say when she's trying to convince people that Joe is just fine and maybe somebody put a drug in his drink? No, she didn't really say that. That didn't really come out, did it? Well, we're going to find out. Plus, why is anybody giving Hunter Biden any time like Bill Maher? Do we really want to hear from Hunter Biden? Do we really trust like what he has to say?
Hey, Esther.
All right, never mind. So we're going to get all to that in just a bit. But first, what was it, Friday nights? The president of the United States in South Carolina. We could play some clips from what he was talking about. Big rally there in South Carolina. As a matter of fact, the first thing he did, bringing on stage soon to be the former White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, bringing her on stage. And the people love her. They love her. A little bit of Caroline Leavitt from last night.
Hello, South Carolina. Thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. President. You didn't need to bring me up on stage, though I do love a good podium.
Very nice.
And I just want to say, President Trump, you are the most consequential and historic president in the history of our great country. And it has been the honor of my life to serve as your White House press secretary, sir. It really has. And I just want to let everyone in this room know how hard this man works for all of you and for every American across the country. Regardless of whether they're a Republican or a Democrat, you call this man at 6 in the morning, you call him at 3 in the morning, he picks up the phone because he's looking out for you.
Oh, I thought, wait a minute, but Democrats tell me he's on the golf course all the time. That's what he's doing. Like, he's not even paying attention to anything that's going on. He's on the golf course. He's making all kinds of money, pocketing all kinds of different things, No, that's not the case at all.
And he needs your help with a Republican Congress for the next 2 years so he can make our country greater and stronger and wealthier than ever before.
So no doubt that she's right about that we need to have Congress on our side. The President of the United States was even talking a little bit about that, including some of the things that we have been talking about many, many, many times. And you probably in your community have been talking about this as well. We got to pass some things like...
And finally, we must pass the Save America Act to defend our sacred American elections.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You know what I mean? Gotta do it. You gotta do it, Tim.
Gotta do it, Tim. He's talking to Tim Scott. That is Tim Scott, the senator from South Carolina. Can we get this done? Can we get Save America Act done? Can we get anything done with regard to that? It would be really nice, especially considering what we all know, that if Democrats get control... Hold on, I threw up in my mouth for a second. Hold on. If the Democrats get control of the House and Senate somehow during this midterm cycle, do you think anything's going to get done? There's going to be a whole lot of committees and hearings against the President of the United States and probably people in the cabinet. And who knows, maybe even some people that they'll bring in like a surprise. Who knows? But we're not going to get anything done. That is for sure. And then some of the radical things that we're going to hear more about. The president of the United States on Friday night was talking about it, right? He was bringing up some of the things that we're hearing about more than ever now that not too long ago would have been like crazy to think about.
And it's hard to believe we have to fight. Who could believe that we're standing up here? Can you imagine being like 20 years ago and you'd have a presidential candidate or a president standing up saying, we will not allow men to play in women's sports? They'd say, this guy's crazy.
Not only that, maybe 15, 20 years ago, it would be crazy to say, can you believe that the Democrat Party has allowed the Democrat Socialists of America, who are avowed communist, Marxist, socialists, to infiltrate and take over their party? And now that is the debate that we are having in the country. Can you imagine that too? I just wanted to bring that up as well.
And now it's like a battle. Can you believe it? Or transgender mutilization of your children will take place. Now, could you imagine saying that like 20 years ago, even 15 years ago? They take the guy off and put him in a cage. They say there's something wrong with him.
Yeah, there's something wrong with him. Are you really talking like this? So the president of the United States there in South Carolina Friday night, who was at a big rally. And yeah, can you imagine, the radical left, that's what we've got coming up. And I think he even said, hold on a second, let that clip finish up, D. Go ahead.
And I actually have to get up and fight for no men playing in women's sports, no transgender surgery of your children. It's not even believable, but that's the radical left. They're crazy, and you can't let them get involved any further with this country.
Yeah, they're crazy. He's not wrong about that, according to many people. Well, maybe me, maybe you. There are some, though, in this country that really like the idea of all of that. And, it's...
So what are you saying?
I'm just saying that there are probably some people that believe in the fundamental transformation of the United States and probably aren't really fans of the Constitution and might like all the things that the president was just talking about. And I don't know. It's just...
Shut up.
All right, never mind. So, yeah, and one other thing that the president was talking about Friday night at the rally in South Carolina. Let's see if we can play this, because obviously... when we're talking about Democrats, specifically some of the things that they are arguing for.
This is a group that stands for eliminating the United States Senate.
We're talking about the Democrat Socialists of America, who basically have taken over the Democrat Party. It's like, we're a Big Ten party. All right, come on in. Wait a second. Why are you taking my chair? Why are you eating my food? What's going on? I just wanted you in the tent. I didn't want you to take over the tent. and that's what they're doing.
Replacing the presidency and the Supreme Court of the United States.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with the Supreme Court today. Very happy, okay? Defunding and abolishing the police. Amnesty for all illegals, including murderers and all other criminals, including ending our military, enacting reparations for a very small group of people, and, of course, immediately abolishing all prisons and terminating police. Other than that, I think they're quite reasonable.
Other than that, I think everything is fine. They're quite reasonable when you think of, no, they're really not. And so what we have here is definitely the setup for the midterms and what is coming, which is going to be a one side versus the other. You've got a clear distinction between the two parties now. And if there are some who are trying to make it seem like, there's somebody that they're not, we have plenty of clips that we can find. We've got the interwebs, thanks to Al Gore. Didn't Al Gore invent the internet? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just want to double check that. He invented the internet. Just ask him. And we have that distinction, which is very good. At least they're telling us exactly who they are. At least they're not trying to fake it or fake us out. So I guess is that a good way to look at a leftist? I don't know. Maybe it's... All right, that's the transition music. We move on. Anytime you want to call, by the way, as we are live over the weekend, 866-588-8303, 866-588-8303. Now, Jill Biden is still making the rounds on different media outlets. Why, you might ask? I don't know. I guess the former First Lady has a couple of things to say about Joe Biden, and it's been the same thing that Democrats still continue to talk about. Although, some of them have been like, if somebody knew that Joe Biden really wasn't ready for prime time, why didn't they tell us? I don't know. Why didn't you ask the family? I mean, they're around him all the time, and they allowed him to be right there, front and center. Like Jill Biden, who, by the way, let me just put the lead out here on this story. You're about to hear from Jill Biden and Hunter Biden. And I just want to make sure everybody is aware of this. I think we're all on the same page. Because you're going to hear something out of Hunter Biden about his dad being a great dad. And to me, a great dad is, hey, I'm really concerned about you because you are heavily on drugs and there are different things going on with you, Hunter Biden, in your history and even what is going on. You're my son. I love you. So I want to make sure that I'm not going to do anything with regard to you having lots of money and traveling a lot. And I want you to get better. I love you so much that I want you to get better. But that's not what Joe did he? So we'll get to that in just a second. So the former First Lady is now continuing to talk about how I'm not really sure what happened to Joe during the 24 debate with President Donald Trump. Everybody remembers the debate. It was a hot mess. People were talking about it for days and weeks. There's a lot of conversations about it. As a matter of fact, we know what the conversations were like because we were able to witness from the White House press secretary at the time that was about, oh, look, he had his cold and I think he was taking some Ambien or maybe he was traveling a lot.
Let's wait.
12 days after he returned, though.
But
and
you
he
also
jet lag yesterday.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, so it was jet lag. He was sick. Now, if you're watching at Right Line News on YouTube and X, to the left of your screen, you see Joe Biden walking down the day of the debate, jumping around. Oh, as much as Joe Biden was jumping around, like moving well. He looked perfectly fine to everybody. But here's the answer here.
There's a cold. There's a jet lag. You combine that. He continues to work for the American people day in and day out around the clock. Things happen.
Yeah, things happen. I mean, listen, he had a cold, not feeling so well. But again, if you're looking to the left of your screen, if you're watching, and if you're just listening wherever you are, in your car, if you're at your house, if you're in the office, whatever, here's the thing. Joe Biden is coming down the stairs and not falling, which is pretty good for the former president at the time. And he is leaving Air Force One and shaking hands and not kissing babies. There were no babies there. And he's hopping and skipping and jumping, and he looks perfectly fine on the day of the debate. As a matter of fact, if you remember, I think it was like low energy Joe or whatever the president was saying at the time. And he wanted to make sure everybody thought he was high energy Joe. So he was hopping and skipping and jumping as much as he possibly could to show the energy that he had. So why are we talking about this? Because Joe Biden gets asked on a podcast, like, what happened? Like, I still can't figure it out. It was just weird at the time. That wasn't Joe being Joe. For some reason, he was acting kind of different. And as a matter of fact, she says,
still to this day, you don't have a gut instinct on what was that moment.
No, I mean, there's all kinds of theories. He had been traveling. I know he was tired. He didn't feel well.
He didn't feel well. He was hopping and skipping and jumping. We just showed the video. He looked like, well, he didn't really look like an Energizer Bunny, but maybe the Energizer Bunny's little brother who doesn't hop skip as much as he used to. And every once in a while, he might try to get a prosecutor taken out of Ukraine or something like that. But anyway, yeah.
Day when I saw him, but there was nothing definitive that I could point to. And I had been on the road for 2 weeks up until that moment. So I wasn't with him. I didn't see him days before, weeks before. I saw him maybe 1 hour before.
Okay, so I just want you to get this before the end of this clip. So Jill Biden's like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Maybe it was jet lag. He's tired. I'm not really sure. But I didn't see a whole lot of him. But I just don't get that performance in 2024 against the president of the United States in the debate of the century. And then the podcast host asks this.
And there's no way anyone could have, God forbid, laced his drink or something. Who knows?
Who knows? I know. I think you know. What? So I just want you to get this straight. The former First Lady of the United States, who clearly has been around Joe Biden a big portion of her life, at least the married life, and has seen Joe Biden go from one phase to another phase like the good times.
A three-letter word. Jobs. Jobs.
Those were the good times. And then going to some of the other things that we know of and can't really identify. Still don't know what that means. I don't know. And for some reason, can't figure out why anything happened with Joe in 2024 and with the debate. And then when a podcast host is like, I don't even want to mention this, but is it possible that somebody laced Joe Biden's drink with some kind of drug before who knows? Who knows? So really, you want us to believe that? I don't want to say, can you just let it go? Because a lot of us can't let it go. Because we know 874 million people did not vote for Joe Biden in 2020. Although, maybe when it comes to sometimes election fraud, I'm not saying that there was or any, allegedly, that maybe 870 million Americans could vote for Joe Biden. And everybody would be like, he won. He totally won. It's absolutely true. But it wasn't. And they're still trying to have us believe that everything was fine. And then now in 2026, it's like, maybe there's a couple of things we didn't know. I can't believe she did that. I can't. And then there's this. Hunter Biden. Now, why would Hunter Biden get... What is it? Like he's got a book out? What is it? People feel sorry for? I don't understand. I think, there are certain people where it's like, I know what was going on in your life. We saw the contents of the laptop, unfortunately. We know there was a lot to discuss there that we're going to get to in just a second. But at the same time, just kind of off into the sunset. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to put you on this show. I'm not going to prop you up or do anything. I just want you to go be a good dad or husband or whatever. That's it. Just go. But no, you got Hunter Biden now, who was on Bill Maher's program. And I guess this was Friday night as well. Now, good for, I guess, kind of sort of Bill Maher for pressing Hunter Biden on some of the foreign business dealings that we all know about. Everybody knows about Burisma and Ukraine and how that becomes the thing. Like, how is it possible that you, with no experience in oil or anything like that, you didn't study it, how all of a sudden do you become part of the board there? Everybody knows what was going on. Everybody knows the selling of influence. So Bill Maher is like, hold on a second.
I think a reasonable person who's not filled with hate would say, you both took advantage of some of your privileges by being the son of a president and vice president, and you also were a target in a way that a normal person would not have been. Is that fair?
There's a part of that that is fair. One of the things that people, I think, don't understand is that when my dad was president, I didn't do any business. I sold paintings. And I sold paintings to people that then had to testify before Congress under oath. I made an average of $225,000 a year.
Wait, you want us to believe that you were selling paintings? That was it? That's all you were doing? Really? Even Bill Maher is like, dude, really? Are we really going there right now?
Would you have been working for an energy company out of Ukraine? Was that really the thing you studied in school?
Yeah, what about that?
You got that job.
Right. I went to Yale Law School.
You got that job because you were...
Okay,
just admit it.
Yeah, 100%. As I've said on a million interviews, is that, I'm incredibly privileged. Beyond anyone's wildest imagination, not only because of who my dad was, but because of the father that he was.
Of the father? You mean the father that instead of making sure that you weren't going to be on the board of Burisma at the time, the Ukrainian oil company there, among other things, because you desperately needed help, and he probably knew it, and he knew the drug addiction that you had, and all the things that were going on, that maybe not to feed that and be there for you as a dad and try to help you to stop, not fueling that, but to stop the fuel. You mean that kind of dad? Forgive me, but... And again, the laptop, the treasure trove of top secret material in the laptop, the things like Hunter Biden thanking people for, or people thanking Hunter Biden for the opportunity to meet with his dad, an advisor on the board of the Ukrainian energy company, Burisma. Hunter Biden sits on that, earns millions of dollars despite the lack of experience, as Bill Maher was describing, among other things. I forgive me, but I get frustrated when there are two things that go on with Democrats. And don't forget, no matter where you are across the country listening to the sound of my voice or watching at Right Line News on YouTube and X, always remember one thing. Democrats are better than you. The things that they do and they can get away with, as a Republican, you cannot. There's no way you could get away with the things that they get away with. You just can't. As a matter of fact, a lot of the times it's like, hey, come and get me. And the two things, at least when it comes to Democrats, is that, hey, come and get me attitude. It is that Eric Swalwell, we find out about what's going on with Fang Fang and the doo-doo going on and everything else. And then you find out that even the FBI at the time was trying, or the CIA, I guess, was trying to court her as a double agent. And there were relations going on, and there were people that were being brought in there into the Capitol, and all of these involvements that were happening, and the questions about that, among other things, with Eric Swalwell, and some of the accusations outside of that. And when you have someone who maybe has some accusations, women accusing certain people, let's just say, of some very disgusting things, and they're on Capitol Hill, and then all of a sudden they're out of office now. They've resigned their position. They're gone. And everybody's like, oh, okay, that's it, right? They're done. No. If these serious charges that were laid out at the time are true, and they were true at the time, does it mean because that person is no longer in office, then we just dismiss that now? Like, it just goes away. Now, if you're a Democrat, yeah, that's exactly what happens. Like, it's just, yeah, you've done the job. That's it. We can let this go. And in some cases, let's be honest, even with Republicans, that happens. You hate to think that they're protecting each other when it comes to some of the things that happen there on Capitol Hill. But certainly, I want to get down to the bottom of it. And if there are things that need to go to trial and people need to be held accountable, by all means, please, can we do that? But it just feels like sometimes when it comes to that, the Democrats are so much better than you that a lot of times the things that they do, like Hunter Biden, Burisma, and the selling of influence, I don't know, the confidential materials in a garage that Joe Biden had, Donald Trump. No, not Trump. Among other things. All right, we can talk about that more coming up. Let's see, top of the news from the Right Line newsroom and more on the way. My name is Drew Steele. This is Right Line.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
After my injury, I lost my sense of purpose.
I lost the ability to tuck my daughters into bed.
Homes for Our Troops builds specially adapted homes with features that allow our veterans to function independently and focus on their recovery and family. This life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free, thanks to our donors and supporters.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a home where I can be a dad.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a brighter future.
We need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Learn more at hfotusa.org.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection. And hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world. From bow and arrow to hook and bullet, as man evolved, our link to those traditions remains. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt, to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. Misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it are leading a war against our heritage. In their misguided policies and protests, they demonize hunters and belittle our way of life. The result? Hunters leaving the sport in droves while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wildlands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system. A system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Just wanted to say what's up. If you're watching at Right Line News on YouTube and X, if you're watching the video stream, we appreciate it. We're in a radio commercial break. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. So I just want you to be aware of that. And thanks for hanging out through this. Don't forget, anytime you want to check out the podcast after the show, Right Line with Drew Steele, the podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get it. So you can check it out if there's something that you missed. And also, we've got a weekday show. It's Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. We're stationed in the state of Florida. So if you want to check that out, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. So we would appreciate you checking out the weekday show. But in the meantime, we appreciate you being here on the stream. We're in a commercial break for radio, and we're going to be back in just a second.
The best part, knowing I'll always have a place to go and a family that loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead and in a changing world. You've got to do it. Alfie and his team designed personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Right Line with Drew Steele.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us this weekend. Anytime you want to check out the show after the show, Right Line with Drew Steele, the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get it. If there's something that you missed and you want to check out once again. All right, top of the news from the Right Line newsroom right now.
Top of the news, national headlines.
Now. AP right over there. Anita Padilla is in the Right Line newsroom checking out some of the stories that are out there. Let's see what's up. What's up?
Hey there, Drew. Topping the news right now, the State Department urging Americans to use extra caution when they're traveling to Ecuador. Officials are citing violent crime, kidnappings, armed robberies, terrorism, and civil unrest, particularly in areas of Guayaquil and some of the coastal provinces like Santa Elena. Popular destinations, including Quito and the Galapagos, are not under the highest level of travel restrictions. All right, well, Arizona prosecutors will not be filing criminal charges against Governor Katie Hobbs over allegations of a pay-to-play scheme involving a group home company. Attorney General Chris Mays says the investigators found no evidence of quid pro quo, though she did call for greater transparency around the political contributions from state contractors. Other investigations remain ongoing. The Pentagon moving to fire the publisher and editor of Stars and Stripes, along with a reporter who covers the Middle East. The employees were cited for alleged insubordination after publicly defending the newspaper's editorial independence. The firings come amid broader tensions between the military newspaper and Pentagon leadership. Ed Martin, a former interim U.S. attorney for Washington, D.C., is leaving the Trump administration. President Trump announcing the departure on Friday, saying that Martin will leave to work on legal battles surrounding the 2026 midterm and 2028 presidential elections. Martin previously led the Justice Department's weaponization group or working group and served as pardon attorney. His tenure as interim U.S. attorney was controversial, some might say, including the firing of prosecutors who worked on January 6 cases and clashes with career Justice Department officials. All right, that is the latest right now here at Right Line News. I'm Anita Padilla, the news director. Drew, back over to you.
All right, AP, we appreciate you in the Right Line newsroom. And anytime you want to check out the stories they're working on, it's simple. You can go to rightlinenews.com. That's the website. And anytime you want to call 866-588-8303 this weekend. The president of the United States this week, and I believe it was on Friday on Truth Social, made the announcement that, look, we're trying to lower the prices of beef. There are a lot of things that are going on with this economy right now. There are some people that are very frustrated. It's amazing how you hear the affordability debate going on, not only on the left, but on the right as well. Affordability comes up with everybody. We see how high the prices are. Always remember, inflation happens because government gets involved. Can I say that again? Inflation happens because the government gets involved. They're the ones that cause it. Not the free markets, not capitalism, but the government getting involved in the affairs. That's why it's happening. And so with the issue of beef, we've got that, and we've seen that as well. And I'm going to get to that aspect of it coming up. But the president on his Truth Social was like, all right, we got to do something about bringing the prices down right now. And so he's got an idea.
Brown brief. This is the Truth Social he just posted, writing that as we work to rebuild the herd and help our ranchers for the next 90 days, the United States will allow up to 300,000 metric tons of product for ground beef to be imported with no out-of-quota tariff. We have a commitment that this beef will be sold at 25% below current market prices. This deal will reduce prices for Americans while giving space for our great American beef herd to grow.
Now, yes, because the herd has to grow. Now, there are some people that heard that and immediately thought, well, this is important. If you do truly care about prices, if you care about affordability, then you would like it if the president of the United States could do something to help with this. And it's a funny thing on the way to, I would like for the president to help with this, because if he helps with this, you're going to have people that are very upset because you're now bringing and importing beef at a discounted price. And what's that going to do to the cattle ranchers here in the United States? Are you telling me you want to hurt the cattle ranchers? Do you think an America First president wants to do that? Dee, do you think so? I'm looking at the newsroom. How about you guys over there? Yeah, of course not. So we're going to get to the reasoning behind this in just a second. And if he doesn't do anything, then clearly it's a president that doesn't care about affordability, doesn't care about the family who can't eat beef anymore. Right. So you can't win. You can't win with some people. The president, just before he was making his way to the South Carolina rally for Darlene Graham, he was at Joint Base Andrews. I think this was on Friday, and he was speaking about getting beef prices down, right?
The move on beef imports is upsetting some ranchers, as well as some Republicans are asking you to delay that move on imports.
Well, we want to get the beef prices down, so we'll get them down a little bit. And that's what people want. That's what the voters want. And that's what I want. The ranchers are great. They're my people. I love the ranchers. They've done a fantastic job. But they admit that we need a little help and in order to get the prices down. So
yeah, in order to get the prices down, we need the help. And so do you really, number one, think that the president of the United States, America First, loves the ranchers, is like, yeah, no, forget about the ranchers. Let's bring in beef from every place else and destroy the ranching industry in the United States. Are you really running with that? You're not, right?
Not a joke.
No, well, it's kind of a joke if you are running with that. But the president's like, yeah, we're going to do this. And now we've done this before. I believe we did it for a short period of time with eggs as well, as those that were bringing eggs to market were trying to get a lot of the chickens back up the what am I? Is it it's not a herd of chickens. I was going to say a herd of chickens, but a flock of chickens. Thank you. A flock of okay. I don't know why I said, well, we're talking about cattle. I'm thinking herd, a herd of chickens. That would be really weird. I guess that's kind of a herd. Anyway, the point is that this has been done before. And let's not miss the lead. The lead story is when government gets involved, that's when things go up, like inflation. We have an inflationary period because government gets involved in the everyday business, in capitalism and free markets. We also know that when you have the issue of beef prices where they are, why are they there? Can we just call it what it is? You had years of Joe Biden, okay? Number one, years of the Biden administration that were getting rid of cattle herds at all kinds of crazy numbers because of the leftist policies that were out there. And it started, well, I guess maybe you could just say it went in fuego, if you will, during the Biden administration because of all the climate crazies. And like cow flatulations. I'd use another word, but it's a family show. And so that's the F word I'll use. Flatulations instead of the other word. So they wanted to destroy the meat industry anyway. They wanted everybody to eat Bill Gates meat. That was the whole point. Everybody was eating Bill Gates meat so we can get rid of the real meat. And don't you remember that? We lived through that. And so that was happening. And so now, because all of those herds went down, it takes time to get them back to the marketplace. It's not like you just snap your finger and it's like, hey, would you look at that? There's a cow. It's ready to go to slaughter. I can't believe it. It came out of the middle of nowhere. It's like an alien cow. No. You've got to have the heifers to have the calves to grow up. And that's going to wait, I think, like 2 to 3 years in order for that to happen so that it can go to slaughter. And kids, ask your mom what that means. But anyway, you had that. You have like meat packers. I think there's only like a less than a handful of meat packers in the country. Everything got consolidated. It really went crazy during COVID. You remember people were screaming about this. Like all of a sudden during COVID, everything, because meat packing plants were getting shut down and they were worried about COVID and they were worried about employees and people couldn't work. And so all of a sudden there were companies that couldn't do business and they were getting swallowed up. And next thing you know, there's only a couple of meat packing plants. and they've consolidated the industry. And even the talk was about fixing the price because, well, there's only a couple of them. What are you going to do? There's something we should be doing. And there's a whole lot more people in the United States as well. Some might say 10, 20, 30 million more people that are here illegally, allegedly. And so they eat too. And I bet you they eat beef. And I bet you they like to live in a house or an apartment or something. Do you see where I'm going with this? That's why it's expensive. You can't just say, well, Trump administration's not doing anything about this, are they? No, they're working as hard as they can to do something. And if you want to get the prices down and you truly do care about affordability, and the president's like, I got an idea. How about 90 days? We bring in some beef. We got a couple of months. We get the herds up. We're getting around to the point, the 2-year point to which some of those herds will be ready for slaughter. And then we can taper that off. And then once we get back up and running, boom, we're back up and running. Do you get that? So it's one or the other. Either you're cool with that or you're not cool with that. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of cool with that for the time being. So let's see if we're all cool with that. All right, what else are we cool with? All right, some news today. A couple of stories out of the Middle East and Iran. And this story that was talked about on Fox News this morning about Scott Bessent and what he's going to be announcing on Monday.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will lay out a whole new raft of sanctions to isolate Iran. That won't be easy as you look at the map there. Iran shares borders, land borders, with 7 different countries, not all of whom are sympathetic to the United States. To the north there, you see the Caspian Sea. That gives them a direct route into and out of Russia. Yeah. There's also increasing use of rail links over land to China. So it will be interesting, guys, to see on Monday what proposals Scott Bessent may lay out.
Oh, well, I guess we shouldn't do it. Then according to Fox News, and I forget the gentleman's name there in Tel Aviv, who's talking about this, it's like, yeah, you know what? There's a lot of countries around Iran that don't like the United States very much, and they're probably going to continue to do business with Iran, even though we bombed the heck out of them, and because, you know, the Straits of Hormuz, and even though Iran was bombing them in a lot of cases, but they're still going to do business. So what's that going to do with economic sanctions? And then you got Russia and you got China. See, the bigger question on that one, interestingly enough, is, yeah, maybe some of that is true. But Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, is like, listen, there's going to be economic devastation that's coming in sanctions against Iran. Oh, and by the way, we would love for our allies, you know, friends, we'd love for our friends to help. And if you help us, it could be truly, absolutely devastating. Some of the economic sanctions might be, hey, ixnay on the anything that comes from Iran, eh? That was very Canadian of me, wasn't it? By the way, there's some Canada news out there we're going to get to in just a second, too. But we would love for you to help us. And look, if you don't want to be an ally and you don't want to help us, I don't want to say like you need us more than we need you necessarily, economically speaking, because we got a whole lot of people in the United States that need stuff. And, you know, we're going to onshore a whole lot of things here. And soon there's some things that we may not need of yours. I'm just saying. And if that sounds harsh, I'm sorry that it sounds that way, but it needs to be that harsh because either we have allies and people who want to help us when it comes to situations like Iran and a country that shouldn't have a nuclear weapon. And we know what they've been doing for the past 47 years. Everybody has seen it across the planet. And yet you don't want to help us to just solve this thing. And if we're not trying to go in militarily, how about economically? You on board? Let's see. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. All right, we got more shaking out this weekend. We'll get the latest for you coming up. My name is Drew Steele. This is Right Line on your weekend.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because Medishare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Did you know VA home loans are a key to home ownership for those who served?
The first moment I walked into my home, I could hear my footsteps echo off the back wall. The first thing I thought in my head was, man, furniture is going to be real expensive. The VA not requiring any down payment prior to buying the home allowed me to take that money I had budgeted to go out and buy furniture, food, cleaning supplies, pretty much everything I needed. Purchasing a home is scary, but ultimately it's not impossible, and they make it so that anybody can do it.
To learn more, visit va.gov/home loans.
For 25 years, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project has collected and preserved the experiences of America's heroes. From original letters to oral histories, these first-hand accounts bring history to life, one voice at a time. With over 120,000 stories collected, each reveals the courage, sacrifice, and service of our veterans, but many remain untold. Help our nation reach 125,000. Share a story. Ensure a legacy. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
We weren't sure adoption would happen for us, but when it did, it happened threefold.
Mary and her husband first met their 3 children when they became their foster parents. Little did they know that their house would become the siblings' forever home.
We had to help them adjust to the idea that they wouldn't have to leave. Children in foster care have lived and survived so much. We had to help them process their trauma. And now to hear our children say that they know they have a mother and father who take care of us, teach us, and love us means everything.
The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is committed to finding safe, permanent homes for the longest waiting children in foster care.
I not only love these kids, I am just so proud of them.
You can help. Visit davethomasfoundation.org.
When I was 19 and I was going to shows, I was not thinking about permanent hearing loss. I wasn't thinking about tinnitus.
Sometimes my kids are having a conversation with me and that ringing starts in my ear. They're talking to me and I hear their voice, but I can't focus on what they're saying.
The audiologist, he told me that most of his clients are not old people. They're kids that have their earphones in.
I have a lot of regret about not protecting my ears sooner.
Protect your ears at all times, no matter what. It's not something you can get back.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little fly, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step.
Bella, let's go.
Guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Listen, I've lived in Southwest Florida long enough to know that when I needed countertops, you go to the best. Who's the best? Rock Solid on JNC Boulevard in Naples. First of all, Rock Solid's consultants, I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but I knew that they were knowledgeable, gave me all the information I needed to make the best decision. I love that fabrication is done on premises. It's not like they're subbing out the job to some third party, right? You're looking for countertops, backsplash? You know where to go. Rock Solid, JNC Boulevard, Naples.
Now, back to Right Line with Drew Steele.
My name is Dr. Eric Davis. I'm an astrophysicist and a chief scientist in the U.S. defense intelligence industry. I've seen classified and proprietary defense intelligence industry evidence that the American public and the world have a right to see. That included photographs and documentation of retrieved craft and alien bodies, but I'm prevented from publicly sharing this evidence because of the threat to my security clearances, employment, and the potential for civil or criminal penalties.
Oh, okay. Hey, you want to get pizza tonight? What do you guys think? I don't know. Anyway, that's Dr. Eric Davis, who's a scientist. I guess he's worked before at the Pentagon's UFO program. And I know, get this, he says he's seen evidence of UFOs, and not just that, 4 alien bodies. And that was part of the statement that he was making, I guess, on social media to say that, hey, listen, I can't get all this information to you because it could get really ugly. But yeah, I've seen the bodies and there's alien bodies. Now, I don't know across the United States of America, as you're listening to my voice on radio and watching at Rightline News on YouTube and X, I don't know what you think about aliens, whether or not they exist, they don't exist, where they came from. But here's the thing. I joke about the, hey, what are we doing for pizza? Because I feel like, and I could be wrong, and I talked to the staff about this earlier when I wanted to play this clip. Doesn't it feel to you like slowly but surely, drip by drip by drip, the United States government is letting you on to the alien programs, the alien bodies, the alien UFO sightings, the physical things that we might have, all of this being real. And as you drip, drip, drip it, you get to the point where it's like, this is old news. What are we doing for dinner? And I think that's the intention. It feels to me, now I know the newsroom's looking at me, but I seriously, that's what I think. And I've always felt that way. Like, that's what this is about. Drip, drip, drip. Get you desensitized. And then if one day it's like, hey, here's Fred. We call him Fred. We don't know what his name is, but he's got 5 arms and we don't know where he came from. And everybody's like, ooh, there's Fred. How do you get your shirt on? That kind of, like you're just going to be, but anyway. All right, moving on. Anytime you want to watch at Rightline News on YouTube and X, like we said. All right, coming up in a couple of more minutes, we are going to talk about Democrats, because Democrats are kind of funny these days. Some of the things that they are saying, trying to have you believe that there's something that they're not, have you believe that they're really not Democrat socialists, where the actual candidates are like, no, I'm full on, full bump, let's do this. But they're trying to, at least the establishment party of Democrats wants you to kind of walk away from the closing of prisons and the defunding of police and getting rid of the presidency and the Senate and the Electoral College and a lot of other things that they've espoused. Oh, and by the way, the Marxist communist thing as well. But there also are some Democrats who, funny enough, are on their way out of Congress and are just tearing things down on the way out. Now, I don't know if you know who Representative Jasmine Crockett is. Of course you do. So coming up, I don't know if we have enough time to play this now. Yeah, I probably have to wait. So stick around, because after the break, I'm going to play some Jasmine Crockett audio. Look, we might as well. There's not going to be a whole lot of time left to do this soon, because once she's out, it's going to be like, never mind. So what did she say about the Democrat Party, where it makes you feel like, I'm not sure we can go out and campaign with her if we're a Democrat, like tearing it down on the way out. It is, it's awesome. And some other things from Democrats. If you don't know the basics of AI, if you don't know how your cell phone works, should you be in Congress? No, I'm serious about this. Like, if you don't know fundamentally how your smartphone operates, are we sure you should be in Congress at all? And I'll give you an example of that coming up.
Line with Drew Steele.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go.
So check before you jet. Avoid delays at TSA security checkpoints by making sure you have an acceptable form of ID. That means a real ID, passport, or other acceptable forms of identification.
Visit tsa.gov/ID to check the full list of acceptable IDs. Avoid travel delays by checking ID requirements, and you're good to go.
Right Line with Drew Steele. Your national voice across the country. This is Right Line with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Let's face it, retirement has gotten more complicated, taxes go up, markets swing, and most people are just guessing their way through it. But you don't have to. Certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend has been helping families right here in Southwest Florida for over 40 years retire with confidence, not guesswork. He even wrote a book called Making Waves in Retirement, and he wants to send you a copy absolutely free. So look, it's about retiring with confidence and peace of mind. All you need to do right now is pick up your phone and text the word book to 239-579-9992. That's book to 239-579-9992. Look, don't wait. Text the word book to 239-579-9992 right now.
What does life after service look like? Kicking back? Taking it easy? We believe it looks a little different. Fighting for all veterans. Making sure they get the benefits and care they've earned. Rebuilding communities after disaster strikes. And adapting to support today's veterans, meeting them where they are. The VFW, still leading, still advancing, still serving. Get involved at stillserving.org.
I can trace family members who served from World War I to today, each one helping shape who I am. My family chose to share their stories with the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Voices, letters, and memories that bring their service to life. Searching for their stories was easy. You can discover powerful stories too, told through the voices of America's veterans. Explore, remember, and share at loc.gov/vets.
Hey everybody, it's Drew Steele. Thanks for hanging out with us today on Right Line this weekend. And just want to remind you, every Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m., we are live. So if there's any breaking news, anything that goes on over the weekend, we will have it for you right here. We are in a radio commercial break, so we'll be back to the radio and to the live program coming up in just a couple of more minutes. If you want to check out the show after the show, Right Line with Drew Steele is the podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get it. So we'll be back in just a minute.
We take hearing for granted. Hearing damage from loud sounds is permanent, but preventable. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Wear earplugs. Turn it down. Give your ears a rest. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 JNC Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 JNC Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
The other day, a man called saying my electric was way past due. He threatened to turn off my power if I didn't buy a gift card to pay the bill. I said, look, fella, I wasn't born yesterday. Gift cards are for gifts, not for paying bills, and I'm sure as heck not buying you a gift. So I hung up on the crook, and my lights never went out. Know the signs of scams and leave scammers in the dust. If someone asks for a gift card as payment, it's likely a scam. A public service message from the Better Business Bureau.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
This is Right Line with Drew Steele.
Well, happy weekend. Happy weekend? I guess that's one way to put it. Thanks for hanging out with us this weekend. My name is Drew Steele. Big D on the other side of the glass with the newsroom. Nina's in the breaking newsroom. And you hanging out with us at Right Line News on YouTube and X if you want to watch. If there's any breaking news over the weekend, we'll have it for you. That's why we're here live every weekend. And we're glad you're joining us, keeping up to date on some of the stories that have been popping over the weekend. The U.S. Postal Service has really upset some lefties out there. You know, if you're a Democrat and you think to yourself, I wonder how we can cheat on an election coming up, let's just say the midterms, because nobody really wants to deal with some of the things that we're talking about as a Democrat Socialist Party that's into communism, Marxism, socialism. Prove us wrong. And so when we're trying to sell that to people and American citizens who are like, hey, are you going to get rid of the Constitution? And they're like, of course. And you're like, no, thanks. The only way really to win when you're dealing with that kind of ideology is to cheat, some might say. Well, we don't want it to happen through the U.S. Postal Service, and they've got a new rule that requires states to provide lists of voters to the feds. And if the mail-in ballots are going to be sent out, you got to show us a list of the voters in your state. And a judge came along, blocked that whole thing. And so this rule was filed so that it could take effect immediately once the block is lifted. But everybody's pretty confident that that's going to happen. The president on his Truth Social account said that earlier this month, India's chief election commissioner asked our administration, how can you have elections in the U.S. without a valid photo ID? That's what we're asking ourselves. India's last election had 646 million voters. Less than 1% voted by mail, and every single voter had to have a valid photo identification document. We need to pass the Save America Act now. And so, yep. So what's going on here is you've got these mail-in ballot rules that are happening, and you got to turn over a list of every voter getting a ballot. You've got to put a barcode on, a very unique code on there for everything that's going out and everything that's coming in. And if you refuse to the United States Postal Service there in the state to deliver those things, well, they're not going to deliver your ballots. How about that? So you like apples? How about them apples? So that was a little bit of the news that we heard about this weekend. Some other things that we heard about this weekend as well have to do with some of the things that Democrats have been talking about this week. Now, I know we're talking about the weekend, and, you know, you're hearing more about people like Abdul El Sayed going on to different networks to try to sound as if they are moderating their position or already moderate in their positions, because, there are people now who are finally getting off the sidelines and in the game, and they want to learn about the candidates. And in places like Michigan, they already know. But around the country, they're going on to MS Now, and they're going on to CNN and other places and trying to make it seem like they're very, very sensible. Some people have not been sensible at all, like Jasmine Crockett, who is not very happy that she lost to James Tallarico, which you're thinking to yourself, man, losing to James Tallarico to be the person that's going to run for Senate in Texas. I mean, James Tallarico, you talk about a flawed candidate. I mean, when you're saying God's non-binary, that's pretty bad. I'm just saying right out the gate. So here's Jasmine Crockett, who is soon going to be out of Congress, who just wants to let Democrats know that they are on notice, and she thinks this.
I frankly stopped doing as many TV interviews because I don't want to talk about the race, to be perfectly honest. And the reasons that I don't is because right now people just need to focus on whatever it's going to take to win. But there is a reckoning that this party needs to have.
The Democrat Party she's talking about, a reckoning. What's the reckoning?
There isn't, the racism was very clear.
Oh, so what you're telling me is that if you were thinking, I wonder if I should have Jasmine Crockett go out with me on the campaign trail in Texas as a Democrat, maybe I should reconsider that. So there's Jasmine Crockett who's tearing the house down. So yeah, how about that? The racism is very clear in the Democrat Party, and there's going to be, and there needs to be, a reckoning. Oh my. So is Jasmine Crockett after November going full DSA? Like, is she going to go out? I guess if she's going to campaign with some people in Texas, there's certainly going to be DSA members. I'm assuming she's going to go full DSA, because if she ever wants to get back into Congress, that's how you would do it, I guess. It seems like many people are doing that now. Like when you had the story about Chuck Schumer that we're going to get to in just a bit, who Chuck Schumer all of a sudden is like, El Said, he's good stuff. And I like the DSA. I mean, we're a big tent. He didn't really say that, did he? We'll get to that in just a second. But here's another nugget. So the final U.S. Senate primary debate took place in Massachusetts. And it was between Seth Moulton and Ed Markey, who is the senator, who has been there for, I think, just like Joe Biden, like 172 years or something like that.
Not a joke.
I don't think so either. So here they are. It's the final, I was going to say the final countdown. Okay. So here they are, and this is a very interesting question from somebody for the Senator, Ed Markey. Listen to this.
Senator Markey, do you personally use AI platforms like Claude or ChatGPT in your work?
I use whatever is inside of my iPhone and my iPad, whatever comes up.
Whatever's inside of my phone, whatever comes up. Now, if you look at Seth Moulton's face, if you're watching at Right Line News on YouTube and X, you can see his face is like, oh my, that's a bad answer. So he's probably thinking, woohoo! But yeah, spoken like a true 176-year-old man. So there he is. Whatever's in there, I don't know.
And I don't know what companies my iPad might be using, but if it does in fact provide me with the information which I've been asked, I'm asking the device to give to me, then of course I'm using it.
Maybe the follow-up from the reporter should be, do you have any idea what we're talking about here? Like, do you know anything about AI? Like, what is Claude? When I said Claude, do you know what that is? When somebody says ChatGPT, do you have any idea what that is exactly? So Seth Moulton's like, oh my.
Congressman Moulton?
Yes, I use AI. We're very careful about how to use it honestly, to use it effectively. But these are tools that can help, but they're also tools that need protections. And with all due respect, Senator, if you don't even know what you're using on your phone or your iPad, like, this is why we need a new generation of leaders to regulate these technologies.
There you go. So that is Seth Moulton, who's like, I think we just destroyed Senator Ed Markey's career in one fell swoop. There it is. Not in understanding. There's something inside my phone, and I think it works, and I'm not really sure. And so there's that. And did that answer the question? No, sir, that didn't answer the question at all. By the way, today, and I'm going to see if I can find this. Speaking of Seth Moulton saying we've got to regulate AI, social media. You know, the president of the United States took a stand this week on data centers. We're going to play that in just a second because data centers is going to be one of the big, huge, massive debates that's out there. You're going to have candidates that if they are for data centers in your state, wherever you're listening to the sound of my voice, chances are whoever they're running against is probably going to be on the opposite side. And if they're holding their finger up to the wind right now, the side that they're going to be on most likely is anti-data center because it sure feels like that's where everybody's at right now. But going back to Seth Moulton in Massachusetts, just this morning, you had the Attorney General Todd Blanche talking about the $400 million settlement with TikTok. And what about that when it comes to regulating and charging social media?
Well, since that lawsuit was filed, as folks know, TikTok has undergone a meaningful change in ownership, leadership, management, and their practices. And so this lawsuit and the settlement of it takes into account the changes the company has made since the lawsuit was filed, which is exactly what we should be doing, and also make sure that it's a stark reminder and a real important note to anybody out there that we are going to protect children, and the internet is got to be a safe place for children. And if companies and entities are not doing what they're supposed to do to make sure that happens, we're going to come after them. So I'm happy about the settlement. I think it was the fair, just, and right result for everybody involved. But remember, TikTok today is not the TikTok that existed several years ago. It's a much different company, and President Trump has talked about that. The Department of Justice recognizes that, and that's why we agreed to reach a fair settlement. But it's a big number. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a big number, $400 million, and they've reached the settlement, and let's hope they get it. Let's hope they understand that we're not messing around. And I hope he's I don't want to say telling the truth, but I hope he's right about this. We're going to protect children, no doubt. I know he's right about that. And if they're not doing what they're supposed to do to make sure it happens, we're going to come after them, is what he said. And, you know, we have to stay vigilant on that front because it sure feels like, all right, we'll pay the $400 million. We're crushing it right now. So yeah, we'll pay that. But then are you going to stop when it comes to the privacy of children and people that are on your platform? Are we sure that we can do it? Just have to keep an eye on it. But again, I just wanted to bring that up when it comes to social media. I know we've got so much. All right, let's move on. We got more. By the way, if you're tuning in for the first time, that's the transition music. I like to go from one topic to another topic with a transition, just like Seinfeld would go from the apartment to the diner, you know, that kind of thing. So I guess we could talk about this. Sure, this is a woke news story of the day. Yeah, all right.
This is Woke News Today.
Yeah.
With your host, Drew Steele.
Thanks, Biff. All right, let's see what we got here. I guess this is kind of a woke news story. So I'm not sure. I have to be honest. I don't know where this took place, but it is a transgender gentleman. Is that a thing? A transgender? Okay, yeah, I guess a transgender gentleman who was talking about banning boys from playing in girls' sports. And I guess it must have been a city council meeting or a county commission. I don't know exactly where it was, but just know this. The comparison here is going to be interesting. And if you're trying to make the case about having transgender boys in girls' sports, I'm not sure that this is the way to do it.
There is no argument I have heard for banning trans children from sports that does not sound like it came from a century ago.
Excuse me? So a century ago, so the 20s. So, okay, number one, in the in the 20s, 1920s, were they talking about transgender, like boys and women's sports? Was that even a thing? Were they having that discussion? That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, I don't know if that's the argument. I don't know if you really want to go there and try to compare it to some time in the past. And if you're going to try to make it about, I don't know, something that they weren't talking about 100 years ago, or you're trying to make it about segregation, or you're trying to make it about some other thing. It's pretty straightforward about what we're talking about here. And it's not even an issue. Can I say it's 60? Is it like 60, 70%? Is that where we are across the country? Like across the board? Men and women's sports, boys and girls sports, the taking away of the opportunity for girls who are working really, 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 really hard at their craft in that sport to possibly get scholarships, to possibly get pro contracts. I mean, you know all of this, to be taken away by a person who is not a woman. So anyway, I just wanted to play that because I just thought that was I don't know if that's the comparison you're... Okay, we're done. Yeah.
This is Woke News Today.
All right.
With your host, Drew Steele.
All right, thanks, Biff. By the way, yes, again, Biff gets paid every time he gets to do that, so that's why it was a twofer, as it were. All right, what else? Bill Maher's program Friday night was talking about, among other things, the Democrat Socialists of America, the Democrat Party as it consists today. And they're talking about a lot of what we all know that is happening. They're not shy about what they believe. They're not shy on their positions. We all know that. And so here they're talking about, I guess it's the New York Times, Jeremy Peters, and CNN's Dana Bash. And they're talking about the Democrat Socialists, you know, the Democrat Party of today. And this was an interesting little bit of back and forth that I kind of want to parse through. Is that the right way to say that? Parse through, D? Kind of talk about in detail. Here, check this out.
Members of the Democratic Party, they're running, many of them anyway, as Democratic Socialists. It's a totally different political organization. And in fact, they want to take out the Democratic Party. I mean, that's their stated goal. They not only want to take out the Democratic Party, they want to take out the entire constitutional system.
Yeah, this is a guy from the New York Times who gets it. Are you following what the Democrat Socialists are doing? They've Trojan horsed their way into the Democrat Party, actually invited by people like Chuck Schumer, who are like, listen, we're a big tent. Come on in. You won't know what hit you. Well, no, that's for somebody else. That's for a justice who is doing something that Democrats didn't like getting rid of Roe v. Wade and then, calling. Okay. Chuck Schumer, such a nice man. Not really. But anyway, how they want to get rid of you, Chuck, and everybody else that's been the establishment. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. So they've come in to take over. You realize that, right?
That the Democratic Party is allowed to participate in government.
And they like communism. I proved it here a couple of weeks ago just by quoting them. They use the word a lot. They're not actually trying to hide it, although if you ask them, they will deny it.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
They will, but some of them, I mean, this is why El Said did quite well in Michigan. This is why the woman who is running against Karen Bass as mayor of LA is doing quite well, because they've learned how to sand down the rougher edges, and they don't talk about socialism. They don't talk about seizing the means of production and stuff like that.
They don't really, but they do use the term, and they have before, some of them. Some of the others, like Karen Bass and Said, like what he's talking about, maybe he's right about the fact that they're not throwing those words out, but they are talking about the platform, and the platform is that. But he's not wrong about wanting to destroy the Constitution. There's a little more here. Check this out.
They're getting many of them. Some of them are not quite ready for prime time, let's be clear, but a lot of them have really done a good job of selling themselves to the public as quite reasonable mainstream politicians.
And that's how Angie Nixon, who beat Alexander Vindman in Florida this week.
Okay, so that...
No. Now, let me just stop there. So we are in the state of Florida. That's where we are located. Yes, we broadcast across the country, but we are in the state of Florida. Primaries just took place this past week. Let me just tell you something about Angie Nixon, who is a DSA member. Somebody who espouses the DSA platform. Let's put it that way. It's not why she won, because in the state of Florida, there was a very, 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 very low turnout. And she did very, very well in like 3, 4, 5 different counties and was able to carry it at the end of the day. In a state like Florida, people were like, I can't believe this happened. The reason why it happened is because of that. The Democrat turnout was really low. She won really, really, I mean, it was big. Her opponent won in places like South Florida, where, funny enough, South Florida, a lot of Cubans, a lot of people who know what it's like to live under communism and really don't like it a whole lot. And so they weren't voting for her. And if you just wrap around the state of Florida and you come to the West Coast, same thing. Alexander Vindman was the, believe it or not, I know you, some of you outside of the state are like, wait, Alexander Vindman, you mean the one who was part of the impeachment of the president of the United States, part 1? With the perfectly fine phone call and Zelensky, and he was the one that was on Capitol Hill as a star witness for the Democrats, talking about how he heard the call and he knew about the whistleblower. And then when asked about the whistleblower, he said he didn't know about the whistleblower. And then Devin Nunes was like, well, why did you say you knew something about the whistleblower? And he's like, I'm taking the 5th. Like, yeah, that embarrassment. Yeah. So he got the coastal portions, Tampa areas like that, south. But she won really, really big in the places that did vote for her, but the turnout was really low. So it wasn't about a message. It wasn't about a message that resonated or anything like that. So I just wanted to be clear about that point, because sometimes, you know, that's out there and it's different. How do I say this the right way? It is different in a lot of states. State of Florida was not going to be all about someone. She's not going to beat Ashley Moody, the senator, now. Wherever you are in the state states that we are in, I'm sure that there are plenty of politicians who are DSA members who are trying to smooth over the rough edges and make it seem like there's something that they're not. But you can't walk away from social media. You can't walk away from the politics and the policies that we all know very well that are out there. And one thing that I wanted to mention was you keep getting more and more stories out there about the things that are going on in certain places like New York City, where, funny enough, this week, you had the lead official for Mayor Mamdani's New York City groceries. Mamdani Groceries, come on down, 30% off, where that individual who's running the whole show there in New York says,
ultimately, the goals of these locations, not just here in East Harlem, but any borough location, is to be complementary to the neighborhood, and really, rising tides, right? We can all cooperate and work together in a meaningful way.
Yeah, except the fact that you're competing against grocery stores that have been there for a long time. And what about that part of it? The reporter knows this.
Do you mind, what is the, I've heard that term from EDC officials, that these are meant to be complementary. What does that mean? What does that complementary mean in terms of policy, operations, and things like that?
Check this out.
Yeah, I think we're, as an agency, looking at a number of different complementary, policies and programs, grants, incentives.
Grant incentives. So here's the thing. Grant incentives to those that are going to be in competition with the state one. So they're going to subsidize the 30% off grocery store, and then they're going to subsidize the stores around the city that are in competition.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
What a joke.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
I
Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. You've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
After my injury, I lost my sense of purpose.
I lost the ability to tuck my daughters into bed.
Homes for Our Troops builds specially adapted homes with features that allow our veterans to function independently and focus on their recovery and family. This life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free, thanks to our donors and supporters.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a home where I can be a dad.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a brighter future.
We need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Learn more at hfotusa.org.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection. And hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world. From bow and arrow to hook and bullet, as man evolved, our link to those traditions remains. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt, to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. Misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it are leading a war against our heritage. In their misguided policies and protests, they demonize hunters and belittle our way of life. The result? Hunters leaving the sport in droves while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wildlands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system. A system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
I slept in a lot of different rooms, different beds, but none of them really felt like mine. I spent 14 years in foster care, mostly in group homes. And I never had much left because I always had to be ready to move. Why get things if you just have to let them go?
There are more than 100,000 children in foster care waiting to be adopted. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is working to help find them a forever family and a permanent home of their own.
Now I have my own room with walls that tell my story. I love hanging out in here. I play dress up with my sisters and I sing and make videos. But the best part? Knowing I'll always have a place to go and a family that loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead and in a changing world. You've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Right Line with Drew Steele.
All right, a couple of things I would like to let you know about. Number one, if you like the program, we do a weekday program. It's called Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. We are here in the state of Florida. So we do a program Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. live. If you want to watch the program during the week, at FL, like Florida, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Instagram. And we have a podcast, Florida's Voice with Drew Steele, the podcast. So you can check that out anytime you like. If you want to check out the podcast here, Right Line with Drew Steele, the show goes up right after the show. Right Line. You can check it out. Right Line with Drew Steele on Apple Podcasts, blah, blah, blah. And also, if you want to watch anytime, at Right Line News on YouTube and X. All right. We do this during the week on the weekday program. We do something called the Top 5 Audio Clips of the Day. On the weekends, we do the Top 5 Audio Clips of the Week. It's my personal top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Drew's Top 5. Number 5.
Well, Dana, it's embarrassing. Now, we did not get sucked in, but other media did, treating this poll as gospel when, in fact, the results were completely false, untrue, and made up. So here's what happened. Right, a legitimate-sounding company puts out a poll showing L.A. Mayor Karen Bass leads Councilwoman Rahman by 12 points. Well, that's plausible. But it also showed 85% of Spencer Pratt voters breaking for Bass. Well, that's insane. Most Pratt voters would rather walk through fire than vote for Bass. But the media loves polls. TV stations, social media, a major newspaper reported it. Hook, line, and sinker. Millions of voters believed one thing that was entirely fabricated. And when the LA Times called the polling company, it admits the whole thing was a hoax.
A hoax? Wait a minute. So while people have been getting ready for primaries and the midterms, you have this story. A company in California, I guess, I don't know if they're a California company, but it happened in California, intentionally put out a fake poll that showed LA Mayor Karen Bass leading the Communist Socialist Marxist DSA member, Nithya Raman, by double digits. And they put out this poll, but it was fake. It showed that 85% of Spencer Pratt voters were breaking for Bass. And I think people were like, wait a second. That Karen Bass? You mean the Karen Bass that Pratt voters, like was described, would walk through fire rather than vote for Bass? And so the LA Times calls them like, who are you guys? And they're like, you're not going to believe this. But we did this as a goof. It was a short-term social experiment. We wanted to see if we made up a polling company and put out a poll, and it was crazy, if you all would run with it. And believe it or not, there were people that did just that. They ran with it. They believed the poll. They put the poll out there. Now, there are some polling companies that are trying to do some really, really good work out there to get a snapshot for people who ask in different places across the state, across the country, wherever you are, so we can get a gauge as to what's going on. And then you got these guys who are like, yeah, we made the whole thing up, and people run with it. That's probably not a really good thing necessarily for pollsters in general. It's just
Number 4.
We as human beings have the right to shape our own destinies, and we do that through the vote. And so many brave Americans, so many brave Black Americans have fought and died for that right. And so for politicians in Austin or in Washington, as they're now doing with the SAVE Act, they are trying to rob our neighbors, particularly our black neighbors, of those God-given rights. So I have a track record of using every tool in my toolbox.
Is lying one of the tools in your toolbox? Is that what you're doing? That's James Tallarico, who is running for Senate in the state of Texas. And lots of different things that are circulating around the interwebs this past week, about James Tallarico. And this was one that I guess he was talking to someone there in Texas about how if we pass the Save America Act, it's going to prevent black people from voting. As if they're not capable of figuring it out, like how to produce a voter ID, which is so despicable and condescending to say something and to suggest something like that. But for some reason, it's okay that James Tallarico says something like that because he's a Democrat. And just remember, when you say things like that and you're against Trump and you've got the whole Trump derangement syndrome going on.
If you're crazy and you know it sounds like this.
Donald Trump and his extremist allies.
Yeah, when you got that whole thing going on, then you can pretty much say anything you want and everybody runs with it. I never enjoy. Oh, come on.
Number 3.
I'm a lifelong Democrat. I voted for Obama. I voted for Hillary. I voted for Biden. I voted for Slotkin. I heavily supported Haley Stevens throughout her race. And now I'm voting for Mike Rogers because sometimes the election calls for us to look at something bigger than lines. The Democratic nominee that we've been given does not share my values, and he does not agree with a world that I want my children to grow up in.
Well, how about that? So there was like this little presser that took place this week in Michigan. You've got the Republican Mike Rogers running against the DSA member Abdul El Sayed, and you had Democrats that were showing up at this presser, lifelong Michiganders, explaining why they're voting for Mike Rogers, and there was one right there. It's like, yeah, not a socialist, not a communist. I'm just a mom, proud Michigander, and I can't do it. And I wonder how many people there are that are just like that in Michigan and other places across the country where when push comes to shove, and let's hope we're not pushing and shoving at the polling place, but if you're walking into said polling place and, you close the curtain or you look over your shoulder and nobody can see you anyway, and you mark that dot, do you really want that dot to be a DSA dot? I don't think you want that dot, because if that dot is the dot you're choosing, then there's going to be one day where that dot isn't going to make a difference at all, because when you've got a communist regime that's running the place, they're not concerned about your dot. I don't think that came out the way I was thinking in my head. It's just that, I don't know.
Number 2.
Still to this day, you don't have a gut instinct on what was that moment.
No, I mean, there's all kinds of theories. He had been traveling. I know he was tired. He didn't feel well that day when I saw him, but there was nothing definitive that I could point to. And I had been on the road for 2 weeks up until that moment. So I wasn't with him. I didn't see him days before, weeks before. I saw him maybe 1 hour before.
And there's no way anyone could have, God forbid, laced his drink or something.
Knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? I know. That's ridiculous. So there's the former First Lady of these United States, Jill Biden, who thought it was a good idea to go on somebody's podcast and talk about the fact that I just really don't get it. In 2024, my husband, who I've known for a long time, who I never saw anything wrong with him at all. And I kept pushing him out there, even though he kept stumbling and falling. I'd pick him up and push him out there again. And, go ride the bike, Joe. Don't ride the bike, Joe. That kind of thing. And just kept doing it and doing it. I didn't see anything wrong. I just don't know what happened in the 24 debate with President Trump. And I just don't get it. And then the podcast, I was just like, listen, I don't want to say anything, but you're going to rule out maybe Joe's drink being laced with a drug or something like that? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Are you really going down that road? Sure, they're going to go down that road. Is there anybody that believes that road? I'm not taking that road. Somebody might take that road, but that's a really weird road to take. But she took it.
Number 1.
By the way, are we going to miss Caroline?
I'm going to miss her. Let me have that. So here are some headlines in Carolina. I got to stand next to her.
To me, that was just one of those funny moments, an endearing moment where the president of the United States at Joint Base Andrews, it was just before they were getting ready to get on Air Force One to head to South Carolina for a rally. And there's the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, standing next to the president. And it's like, come on over here. I love you. I'm going to miss you. And I don't know. I thought that was just one of those cool, endearing moments that you love with the president.
Drew's Top 5.
Because it's true what he has said before and others have said. I think the vice president said, J.D. Vance, that probably one of the best, if not the best, White House press secretary in the past 3 decades, 30 years. I couldn't disagree. I think that's spot on. Absolutely, positively correct. And going to be missed. That's all. Just wanted to put that out there. All right, let's see what else we got going on. Should we peruse? I'm looking at the newsroom. Should we just peruse the headlines right now as we are live this weekend? Maybe just check out some of the stories that people will be talking about on Monday. But we're here today, this weekend, with you. Let's see. A couple of things. I believe that Mark Cuban has said now if he runs for president of the United States in 2028, he's going to run as a Republican. Did he really say that? Come on. The same guy who endorsed James Tallarico in the Senate. And he did. And I think it was on a podcast where he did it, but I haven't seen it yet. So yeah, there's that. The president of the United States has dropped this on his Truth Social account. And if you're watching at Right Line News on YouTube and X, you're going to see it. And if not, let me describe it. There it is. A new U.S. territory, the Strait of Hormuz. So the president is trolling brilliantly like he always does there. So today, as the talk of what's going on with Iran and what's next, and Iran doing some tough talk today, which is really weird. You're going to really tough talk us? Okay. But the suggestion that, hey, listen, we've got control of the Straits of Hormuz right now to the point where I think 16 million barrels have been flowing through this lane that we have set up there in the Straits, and no issues there, and a lot's been moving, and we've got control. And I don't know, maybe it's another. Hey, what about that in Greenland? The newsroom's laughing. There you go. So we got a new U.S. territory, the Strait of Hormuz. We'll bring Greenland into this. We just got a lot that we want to work on. Let's see. A couple of other things that we are watching here. Carmelo Anthony is not getting a retrial as he's facing 35 years in prison for slaughtering Austin Metcalf. And so that's not going to happen, even though there's some people that are asking for it. Nope. Also, a couple of other things that have been out there in the news. There has, I guess you have the Nick Shirley Act that's being discussed that people are mentioning going on in Minnesota. I don't know if you heard about that. The Nick Shirley Act that they're signing. Oh, excuse me, in California. Thank you. In my ear. California. Where if you are a citizen journalist and you're going to find out about waste, fraud, and abuse and report on it, you could get in trouble for it. And the California State Assembly Chief of Staff is going to face consequences now because I don't know if you saw the video during the week, but he stormed up to Nick Shirley and was releasing this profanity-laced tirade against him. Thus, I can't play it right now because we are on the radio, so that's not going to happen. But, yep, there's going to be some kind of consequences for him. But the fact that California is doing that is just unbelievable. By the way, we're going to take a break. And before we leave, when we come back, I'm going to shock you with a clip. Now, I'm not talking... No, I'm going to shock you with a clip out of California that when I heard it this morning, I was like, is this AI? Did that really happen? It really happened. And I think it's going to shock and amaze you too. So I would stay where you are. I wouldn't go anywhere. Well, I mean, you can drive around or whatever. You can walk around the house or whatever. Stay there. It's Right Line.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Did you know VA home loans are a key to home ownership for those who served?
The first moment I walked into my home, I could hear my footsteps echo off the back wall. The first thing I thought in my head was, man, furniture is going to be real expensive. The VA not requiring any down payment prior to buying the home allowed me to take that money I had budgeted to go out and buy furniture, food, cleaning supplies, pretty much everything I needed. Purchasing a home is scary, but ultimately it's not impossible, and they make it so that anybody can do it.
To learn more, visit va.gov/home loans.
For 25 years, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project has collected and preserved the experiences of America's heroes. From original letters to oral histories, these first-hand accounts bring history to life, one voice at a time. With over 120,000 stories collected, each reveals the courage, sacrifice, and service of our veterans, but many remain untold. Help our nation reach 125,000. Share a story. Ensure a legacy. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
We weren't sure adoption would happen for us, but when it did, it happened threefold.
Mary and her husband first met their 3 children when they became their foster parents. Little did they know that their house would become the siblings' forever home.
We had to help them adjust to the idea that they wouldn't have to leave. Children in foster care have lived and survived so much. We had to help them process their trauma. And now to hear our children say that they know they have a mother and father who take care of us, teach us, and love us means everything.
The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is committed to finding safe, permanent homes for the longest waiting children in foster care.
I not only love these kids, I am just so proud of them.
You can help. Visit davethomasfoundation.org.
When I was 19 and I was going to shows, I was not thinking about permanent hearing loss. I wasn't thinking about tinnitus.
Sometimes my kids are having a conversation with me and that ringing starts in my ear. They're talking to me and I hear their voice, but I can't focus on what they're saying.
The audiologist, he told me that most of his clients are not old people. They're kids that have their earphones in.
I have a lot of regret about not protecting my ears sooner.
Protect your ears at all times, no matter what. It's not something you can get back.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little fly, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step.
Bella, let's go.
Guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Listen, I've lived in Southwest Florida long enough to know that when I needed countertops, you go to the best. Who's the best? Rock Solid on JNC Boulevard in Naples. First of all, Rock Solid's consultants, I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but I knew that they were knowledgeable, gave me all the information I needed to make the best decision. I love that fabrication is done on premises. It's not like they're subbing out the job to some third party, right? You looking for countertops, backsplash? You know where to go. Rock Solid, JNC Boulevard in Naples.
Now, back to Right Line with Drew Steele.
I'm enthusiastic about encouraging people to get a Trump account. I think it's incredibly important.
What? Okay. In case you're thinking, wow, that is an amazing looking AI video right there. It's not. So that's Governor Gavin Newsom, who they're on C-SPAN, the Affordable College and Career Training Initiative that's going on there, investing in California kids. And the talk there was about investing in Trump accounts. Like, wait, what?
They're promoting it. It's one of the best things Micron has done. It's one of the best things those folks that cannot be named that made those private contributions have done. It's direct, it's tangible, it's results oriented, it's not lost in bureaucracy. You can see it, taste it, feel it. You're making a difference directly to the next generation. You're giving them hope.
But is he okay? Is there something going on? What? Okay, I didn't have Governor Newsom talking up Trump accounts on my bingo card today. But then again, I'm not really good at bingo, to be quite honest with you. I don't even know how to spell it. What's that?
A three-letter word.
Yeah.
Jobs. Jobs.
That's twice today we played that clip. All right, anyway. So, yeah, it's something. I don't get it. I'm just trying. Is that Democrats trying to convince you that they're moderating? Is that him trying to play the middle to make it seem like, you know, he's not going to side with the Democrats, socialists, and destroy the Constitution and all the things that they espouse and all the things that socialism brings, which, by the way, anytime you have government getting involved in the cost of living, the socialist policies aren't going to help. When we talk about affordability and everybody's like, yeah, it's too much, let's go to communism or socialism. That's not going to, here, if you don't believe me, David Sachs was on his All In podcast there, tech founder, and he was describing this perfectly just the other day. And I want you to check this out, because if you think that socialism is going to help government involvement even more, is going to help to bring the cost of things down?
The inflation thing, because you talked about it and Freeberg's talked about it. I mean, basically you're saying the cost of living is going to drive everyone to socialism. I agree there's some risk of that, but let's break it down into a little bit more nuance here. If you look at where the most inflation has occurred, it's always in those sectors of the economy that the government's most involved.
Huh. Is that right? By the way, if you're watching it Right Line News on YouTube and X, you see the chart.
So healthcare and colleges and housing, where the government has massive amounts of subsidies and regulation, it only seems to make the problem worse. Kind of makes sense that if the government's paying for something, then the providers have a huge incentive to charge as much as possible.
Yes. Yes. Of course they do. Don't you get it that that's why, a big part of why Obamacare has been such a failure? It's, I mean...
Get your hands out of my fryer.
Don't know what that means. Don't know what that means. But don't you get that? If the government's going to pay for a lot of, whether it's homes or whether it's college tuition, preschool, daycares, right? You charge whatever you want. It doesn't make a difference. Not my money. Well, it is your money technically if you think about it, but no. So the costs go through the roof. You think if socialism comes in that those prices are going to go down? Look, one thing we have to remember before we go, and I know the music's going to kick in just a second, is that when we're talking about what's coming up in the midterms, it's that important. It is really clear the difference between Republicans and Democrats more than ever now. And the affordability discussion on both sides, you got to be careful of, because on the one side, when they're looking at affordability, it's like, maybe we should lean into socialism. No. All right. See you next week.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone,
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
but treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. So check before you jet. Avoid delays at TSA security checkpoints by making sure you have an acceptable form of ID. That means a real ID, passport, or other acceptable forms of identification.
Visit tsa.gov/ID to check the full list of acceptable IDs. Avoid travel delays by checking ID requirements, and you're good to go.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
Hey, just wanted to say thanks to everybody for hanging out with us this weekend on Right Line. Don't forget, at Right Line News on YouTube and X if you want to watch like you're watching right now. Right Line with Drew Steele, the podcast going up in just a few more minutes if you missed something on the show. And we've got a weekday show, Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. We're in the state of Florida. We do a weekday show 3 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday on great radio stations across this state. And you can check us out at FL, like Florida, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Instagram. And we will see you next week.